What's up, all my Ewokshibles, droids, and Wookiees? It's Anna, also known as that Star Wars girl.
Hi Anna, I'm Shandy, also known as Shingy, Shronga, Squirrel, Mr. PP Training, and Robin from Teen Titans Go.
These nuts!
I see that you are currently talking about Marvel's What If, which is a show that I watched, much to my distaste. And judging by that monstrous title of yours, I gather you aren't a big fan of the show, or at least the first episode, considering Peggy's Captain Carter being the thumbnail for your video. And what an interesting title it is. Destroying Femininity the Marvel Way. I can't really imagine any example of the episode where Peggy's womanhood and femininity was attacked, let alone destroyed. I do recall it being used as a point against her being allowed to fight in the field by her superiors, but besides that, her femininity was rarely challenged or even brought up as a contentious topic, mostly due to the pacing of the episode covering the events of a 2-hour film in a 20-minute window. So not a lot of time to really dwell on such a point, but perhaps you rewatched the episode and discovered an issue I didn't initially notice. I mean, one of my bigger issues in regards to Peggy's femininity was that she always found the time to reapply her makeup despite being on active duty and punching the fuck out of a dummy. So that was strange. Besides that, I can't really think of anything, so let's see what you have to say, shall we?
Also known as that Star Wars girl, and today I'm going to be talking about the continued attack on femininity.
The continued attack? Do you mean Marvel or movies in general? Because if you mean the MCU, then you need to give some pretty solid examples since these movies have some incredibly attractive and feminine female characters. Black Widow, Scarlet Witch, Gamora, Maria Hill, Jane Foster, Pepper Potts, and even some of the newer up-and-comers such as Kate Bishop, Yelena Belova, you know what I mean. Ajax, Cersei, Thena, and Makari, and even Captain Marvel. These are all incredibly attractive female superheroes who show off their femininity, so I don't quite get your point. The only example I can think of where a person's femininity was destroyed is Gamora's adopted sister Nebula, but that's because her dad was Thanos, who was trying to make her a comparable fighter to Gamora, and as a result enhanced her with cybernetics which destroyed her body. But that wasn't because he was trying to destroy her femininity, or even if he cared that she was a woman. The feminine connection comes into play in the second film because Nebula just wanted to have a sister in Gamora, and even then you could argue that if Gamora was a man, she'd still want a sibling to help her out. So could you please maybe give me an example of the Marvel movies destroying femininity, because nothing comes from the top of my head.
I cover this a lot on my channel, so if you're new here, there's a lot of catching up to go on, but
I do not doubt that for even a second. Judging by your very, aggressive thumbnails, you seem to have a thing for calling out content you find to be bad in some sort of way, which, good for you. It's what I'm doing right now. I'm not a particular big fan of rage culture, which you seem to be advertising in spades, so I don't think I'll be watching much of your content, but I'll take your word for it.
Breakdown. So it's this common thing in Hollywood with the access media, with all of the weirdos out there, that they need to push this agenda that women, the only way a woman can be strong is to basically be a man.
Well, wouldn't that depend on the character and the situation the character is placed in? I mean, let's take one of the more famous female characters, Sarah Connor, and look at what qualities one may point out to her being strong and see if we can maybe associate those with male character traits typically found in similar situations. In the first film, Sarah was a waitress at some random diner in America, a job typically associated with women, and she spent a predominant amount of her screen time being protected by Kyle Reese, a time-traveling warrior sent from the future to safeguard Sarah so she could give birth to the man who would save humanity from the machines. We've all seen Terminator, but for those who haven't, that's the rundown. Also spoilers. Now in T2, the T-quel, Sarah takes a more dominating stance as she spent the last 10 years of her life preparing for Judgment Day, and raising John to become more like the leader Kyle Reese had told her about in the previous film. This led to her working out, building a stronger body, learning military tactics, firearms training, and how to hack into ATMs. For the first, let's say, 2/3 of the film, she isn't behaving in a typically affectionate manner towards John, being more like a drill sergeant to him than a mother. Her fear of Judgment Day also led to her being put on a mental asylum for a decent percentage of the film, as no one believed her when she spoke of humanity's end. Sarah's drastic transformation was meant to indicate to the audience that she would no longer be treated as a victim, taking her fate into her own hands and carving out her own future. And while this may seem a bit sexist, that is not my intention, but during the course of this film, Sarah was taking on roles more typically associated with men at the time. She was the soldier, the leader, the tactician, the role model, and drill sergeant for John since he had no father figure to learn from, leading to him seeking that particular guidance and comfort from the T-800 who became his surrogate father till the film's end. However, most people who watched the film did not see that particular transformation as James Cameron intentionally trying to destroy her femininity, especially since those qualities were shown in glimpses throughout the film anyways. This depiction of Sarah Connor was done for two reasons. The first was that James Cameron was only going to write her into the film if she played a center element to the story, else he'd need to write a different story. The second was that, when Linda Hamilton got called in for casting, she told James she didn't want to be the same waitress character from the first film, that she wanted to be wild, which led to her doing rapid training sessions 2 weeks after giving birth. According to CNBC.com, Linda worked out for 3 hours a day, each day for 6 days a week, for several months before shooting started and even during the production. She also learned multiple skills such as firearms training and military tactics. Sarah's character, while not the typical feminine damsel in distress, was universally praised for how much effort she put into the role, as well as helping to normalize the idea that female characters can be just as kick-ass as the men can, which was proven when she did the same tasks and many of the same roles as the men. In 1991, this was seen as amazing. But in 2021, whenever a female character takes on a more masculine role, they are treated as a betrayal of their gender because they are just becoming men. Which is kind of funny to think about, but anyways, moving on.
That there weren't strong women before, ever, and, to have any kind of femininity to you, that basically blocks you from having any kind of strength and from being a strong female character.
Could you perhaps give me some examples of this being a thing? I can buy this totally existing, but I need you to show me cases where a woman has to have literally zero feminine characteristics before she is considered strong. And again, why are you mentioning Peggy while talking like this? In the episode, she has very feminine characteristics, such as the fact she cares about the way she looks, even in combat, considering the makeup, and she is pretty shy about forming a relationship with Steve in the beginning of the episode. Sure, she's headstrong, confident in a fight, doesn't take anyone's shit, but these were traits she had in the movie. So unless you want to make the argument Marvel was destroying her femininity in that film back in 2009, 2010, then I'd advise you to perhaps reconsider your stance.
Which apparently none of those existed before. Apparently Xena didn't exist, Ellen Ripley didn't exist, Sarah Connor didn't exist.
Oh hey, I just gave Sarah as an example of a female character taking on a more masculine role in order to better secure her future. Funny how you mentioned her as an example of a feminine lead when the entire idea of the character was that she wanted to become more like a man in order to raise a son to lead humanity to victory. Or did you just not notice?
All of these women didn't exist. Princess Leia, I can go on the very long list of all of these strong women that existed before, but...
Oh yes, this is a very long list which includes characters such as the Bride from Kill Bill, Black Widow from the MCU, Wonder Woman from the DCU, Daenerys from Game of Thrones, Cypher from Castlevania, Hermione from Harry Potter, Mulan, Eowyn from Lord of the Rings, Yennefer from The Witcher, Ratcatcher 2 and Harley Quinn from The Suicide Squad, Karen Page from Daredevil, Jessica Jones from Jessica Jones, and even fucking Rey from Star Wars. These are all female characters with very noticeable female traits, some of which try to hide or remove those traits to better aid them in their respective goals. I don't even know what your issue is or what you consider to be feminine traits which are being removed, since you don't explicitly say what is a trait commonly associated with women. Not to mention I can point to a crap ton more characters who do not fall under this preconceived notion that femininity is being destroyed.
People in Hollywood, the weirdos on Twitter, they've never seen these movies and they didn't watch TV shows, so they don't know about any of those characters.
But I have, which means I know that you are just talking a load of shit. Like I'm talking 5 pounds of shit in a 1 pound bag kind of load.
And so they decide to go and die on this hill that, hey, let's take a woman and let's make her strong. Because apparently she wasn't before. Apparently Peggy was not intelligent and didn't get to the rank that she was in the military on her own. She didn't use her brain, apparently, now.
You know what? I'm actually going to agree with you on this point. It is actually very stupid how the show handles Peggy as a character, as well as how she saw her career in the military. Agent Carter never needed to scream in order to be heard. Her presence was more than just respected, it was admired. I'm not saying she didn't face some elements of sexism from her male counterparts, this was the 1940s after all, but she was never just shunned for the sake of upholding the fucking patriarchy, so bravo for noticing that too.
But so basically what's going on is that Disney is doing this show, The What Ifs, on Disney Plus, which is fine. They did that in comics and they were actually pretty popular. And it's, you know, a what if scenario. So this scenario is, what if Peggy got the super serum instead of Steve? And
it's fucking shit! It is such a piss poor attempt at writing that the script would make for better kindling than actual reading material. This first episode of the show pissed me off so much when I first watched it because of how much it spit in the face of the first Captain America movie. A pretty underrated gem in the sea of Marvel shite. They took the stern, upper-lipped character of Peggy Carter and turned her into a hopeless romantic, which just, it goes against the idea of the tragic love story the first film was going for. Peggy and Steve were both fighting a war, so they did not have any time to be together and explore their relationship, preferring to keep up appearances, which made their goodbye kiss at the end of the film so much more impactful. Because it signals to the audience that a relationship could have bloomed had Steve not gone under the ice. And fuck me, if I have to hear either of these two characters say the word dancing one more time, I'm going to make it my personal mission to remove the word from the fucking dictionary. This episode is chock full of issues along with the rest of the show, so I look forward to finding out what irritated you the most. I'm sure it's an incredibly valid opinion and not based on the most lukewarm, bare-bones, knuckle-dragging points I have ever heard in my life.
She became Captain America or Captain Britain because Peggy is British. And so they released this promotional image. And I was like, oh, look, it's like clockwork. What do I see here? It's a dude's body with Peggy's head on it.
What?
Because they don't understand how the super serum works.
What? What do you mean they don't understand how the super serum works, you clueless lamplight? The fucking show and the film explains what is going to happen to the host body as soon as the serum is injected. The film established that the serum would lead to increased muscle mass and size, turning the skinny frame Steve had into a hulking mass of man meat. We have an already established line of logic to work with, so Peggy getting bigger makes sense because it lines up with how Steve's transformation was. What the fuck is there not to understand?
Almost as if they don't know that there's been female characters that have gotten the super serum before.
But that's a fucking comic book, you bagged peanut! It's an entirely different continuity from a different medium with an entirely different character. These are not even remotely close to being the same thing. And considering this is the MCU we are talking about, a franchise infamous for taking artistic liberties with the source material, what in the no man's land scouring fuck made you think that Marvel were going to make a one-to-one adaptation of a comic book character who doesn't even share the same continuity? It's not even the same formula, it's a knockoff created in a lab using experimental materials being a result of an accidental explosion. Your first example isn't even accurate to the same procedure Peggy went through.
And it doesn't change your body from a woman's to a man's.
Oh, I didn't realize that Peggy developed a penis during the procedure. I didn't know her voice got deeper, her breasts reduced in size, and she just started giving off higher levels of testosterone. It's almost like none of that actually happened, and the body Peggy has now is just a bigger, stronger version of the one she had before the procedure. She even has tits! She has tits! Big fat old mommy milkers, and you see them a few times during the episode. Why is this something you felt the need to be upset by? It's a fucking promotional image from her front. She is also wearing armor, you gazelle!
Crazy how that works when you actually know things about what you're talking about.
May I introduce you to my irony stone? This handy little device activates every time something ironic is said, as it tracks its targets down in order to hit them in the face, much like the undesired outcome of an ironic situation. The stone has no bias towards men, women, children, or animals. If you say something which evokes the stone's fury, it will look for you. It will find you, and it will schmonk you.
Right? But these people, they don't know that. They don't read comics. They don't actually look at the source material of...
No, instead they watch the movies which they're trying to keep continuity with to varying levels of success.
The stuff that they own that they're trying to market to the fan. Well, they actually told the entire fan base to go fuck off.
Citation needed.
So they're trying to cater to these weirdos on Twitter that don't buy anything. And
do you have any idea how financially successful this fucking franchise is? How much money pours out of these movies and TV shows? According to TechRadar.com, what if it's Marvel's third most popular show behind Loki and WandaVision, beating out Falcon and the Winter Soldier in viewership? Just because you have a melting session over Peggy Pecs doesn't mean that the general audience cares about your alleged issues.
Probably don't pay for individual Disney Plus accounts. Maybe mommy and daddy might have gotten it for them, but that's really pushing it there, because guess what? Once it's on the internet, once it's on streaming, yo ho, a pirate's life for me, which probably all of these kids utilize.
I mean, I can't really blame them. Subscriptions start becoming expensive when you have more than 2 at a time. Not everyone can afford to pay for monthly streaming, so they make do with other methods. I also don't see how this is a point against Marvel or What If, since shows like Game of Thrones, which at one point were the biggest TV show on the planet, was also the most pirated show on the planet, especially during lockdowns, at least according to IndianExpress.com. More recent shows, such as 2021's Wheel of Time, also now holds the title of most pirated show, at least according to winteriscoming.net. We aren't even talking about films yet, which means titles like Mortal Kombat, Black Widow, Kong vs. Godzilla, and even Free Guy make the list of most pirated motion pictures of the year. At least according to BusinessInsider.com. So like, what's your point?
So they're probably not making much money off of this.
Again, third most popular Marvel show on the service.
But this is the hill that they want to die on. They've done it with She-Hulk, which I've done plenty of videos on that if you guys want to go check them out.
No, I don't think I will. I also can't speak for She-Hulk's design since I don't read comics, but if anything is to be said about the design, she looks like a Hulk. Like, what else am I supposed to say? She looks like a Hulk. Now, I don't know the context behind this change or if it was appropriate for the story they were trying to tell, so I can't give much insight. All I know is she's not the same design as the more classic look found in the comics, cartoons, and games, and apparently this caused an upset. Again, don't know if this was called for, but I probably wouldn't care because I stopped reading comics after my 5th issue of Thunderbolts.
They just recently, the most popular one I think that actually, the one that everyone's talking about right now, is what they did to Teela. They took 2 very classically feminine characters and they basically turned them into dudes. And
again, no comments as I have not watched this new He-Man TV show and have never been interested in He-Man. That would be my mom's department, as she grew up watching the particular cartoon. I also don't know if this redesign was warranted to fit her story or situation, but what I can say is I'm not a fan of that hairstyle unless Gwen Stacy is rocking it. So proceed.
Each time, again, not understanding what made these characters so great and so iconic.
I don't know. Based on your preconceived idea on Sarah Connor, as well as the fact you think Hollywood is destroying femininity, I'm kinda starting to think you don't get it. But then again, I heard the show was bombing, so maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Or maybe it's because of a variety of different factors, such as the fact the director, Kevin Smith, lied about He-Man's involvement in the show to many adoring fans' disappointment and inevitable annoyance. I also know that one or more of the characters think He-Man dying was a selfish act, so that clearly went over well with fans. I'm pretty sure that if I had to watch the show and boil down all its meaty content to figure out why people don't like it and think it's bad, I'm pretty sure this particular character's design is going to play an incredibly insignificant role in said dislike, unless the fans of the show are just really petty.
She-Hulk, they don't understand the way gamma radiation works, and they want to die on this hill like, she got more Bruce's blood in her, so that's why she looks more like him, and it's like,
could you please just never do that again?
You don't understand how gamma radiation works, because if she had more of that gamma radiated infected blood in her, she would be even more feminine. You want to understand why Teela is strong? Well, guess what? Her mother is the fucking sorceress. If she spent less time at the gym and, drinking those protein shakes and she used her fucking brain, she would have figured out that Adam was He-Man. But no, they basically made her more yoked than what fucking Dolph that played He-Man in the fucking movie.
I'm so glad we are talking about He-Man and She-Hulk in a video discussing why Peggy is a man. Also, if you think she looks buffer than Dolph, then you clearly have issues with depth perception. She looks like she has your standard aesthetic superhero build you'd find with characters such as Spider-Man, Batman, Goku, and Saitama. Dolph's a fucking tank. What are you on about?
She's more yoked than half the fucking dudes in real life.
Well, that's because half the dudes in real life don't work out and have no training/diet plan. Me and the boys just got Halo Infinite. We ain't got time to look our best.
That is so unbelievably unrealistic.
Did you not cite Sarah Connor as an example of a strong feminine character? Do you not see the size of her arms and shoulders? My lady is fucking ripped. How are you this bad at making a point?
And they want to go off, well, women have unrealistic body standards. There's nothing more unrealistic than having, women now look like men as an unrealistic body standard for women. So again, I don't understand why they want to die on this hill, but that's really what they're going after.
Do you want to know what else is an incredibly unrealistic body standard expectation? Taking a super soldier serum. Unless we are talking exclusively about body size and proportions, a human being can never become as strong or as durable as Peggy and Steve can. Because super soldier serums do not exist. Any person, including a woman, can look as big as Dolph Lundgren, or even bigger, depending on training, diet, and steroid use. We have actual drugs which people can inject themselves with in order to get larger mass. That's also while ignoring the women who are just naturally that big and tall.
And so when I saw this with Peggy, it's like, I spent years in art school studying and drawing anatomy.
And I spent years looking for a single soul who asked.
This is a man's body. And then I even did this over on Procreate to help illustrate, because these people need illustrations. People need to look at pictures. A lot of people are visual learners, which is fine. I get it. That's why when you go and buy stuff from IKEA, it's all pictures and it shows you how to do things.
Congratulations! You altered the picture to make Peggy look more like a man. It's not like I can't do that for literally any female character in fiction or even real life. It's not like I can't do that with male characters either. Look how feminine Luke looks here. You trying to tell me George didn't want our main character to be a femboy? Well then please explain this altered image I found on Twitter. Fucking pathetic.
It's like you remove the hair, you remove the makeup, this is a boy. I did a further illustration where it's like, look, this is a boy. This is the original. This is a boy. Just bring in the shoulders.
Anna, no. Anna, no, please. Anna, no, please. Did you seriously not know that women can have broad shoulders too? There are fashion and dress tips on YouTube for women with broad shoulders, Anna. Peggy even has broader shoulders than Steve in the movie. Are you also just forgetting the fact that she took a super soldier serum which increases her muscle mass and size? I mean, look at Steve before the transformation and then after. Notice how big his shoulders got? Now look at Peggy's before and after. Do you not see any similarities?
Because the way men are, the way men's anatomy works is, guess what? Men are like inverted triangles. They have broader shoulders, smaller hips. Because guess why? Men don't have to have babies.
Well, technically neither do women, just don't get pregnant. And wow, talk about a slap in the face for women who have more narrow hips and wider shoulders. Or even guys who are built more like a rectangle than an inverted triangle. You trying to tell me these men are more feminine because nature wasn't being particularly nice to them that day? Fuck off.
Women are the opposite. Our hips are wider. Our shoulders are, tapered, a little bit tapered in closer together, and our hips are much wider, so we are just a regular triangle, because guess what? What do women have to do? Have babies. Women have to shove babies out of their bodies. What do they need to be able to have to do that? Wider hips to shove a human out of their body. So yes, men and women are physically and biologically different.
Yes, thank you for that 4th grade biology lesson. I'm sure many of your viewers had to be told by some lady on the internet rambling about shoulder size for fictional animated characters, just how the reproduction process operates.
So when I see this is a man. This whole people going, Anna, she has the super serum! You're stupid!
Anna, for fuck's sake, could you be more considerate for people using headphones? Bloody hell. While my ears are recovering from that audio violation, I think I'll read some of these tweets you've elected to provide. Choice cherry-picked tweets, might I add. Let's see here. The first tweet you show says, "This dumb bitch doesn't understand that Peggy was a fit woman who got the serum which bulked her up even more. This sexist behavior all in the attempt to please the neckbeards of the internet." Well, I can't see why you elected to screech instead of providing a counter-argument. The first sentence this person provided is entirely correct. Peggy was a fit woman, as we can tell by her ability to handle a gun and physically sort out a grown man. This fit woman then went ahead and took a super soldier serum, which increased Steve's size and height by a considerable margin, which would naturally mean she'd go under the same metamorphosis. So nothing wrong so far. And based on your earlier comments in regards to female and male body structure, I can't help but agree to his second claim of you being sexist in an attempt to appease the neckbeards of the internet. The second tweet has this person saying, "Touch some grass and leave Marvel alone. Your Star Wars universe has enough problems for you guys to cry about." Well, Mr. or Miss Kai, while I do agree Star Wars has enough problems to fill the Grand Canyon with tears, I don't think that automatically means Marvel's off the hook, especially since you can argue its problems are significantly worse.
We're gonna tell you to go touch grass! We're gonna tell you have internalized misogyny! We're gonna say all these terrible things about you, Ray! And go off on you on Twitter! And it's like, the ratio isn't really working.
Oh, I don't know about that. Quite a few more people realized just how bad of a content creator you were, so that was a plus. I also don't think those other tweets were really worth talking about since they were all just variations of the same thing.
As people that follow me, I'm pretty sure the 42,000 people that follow me on Twitter tend to follow me because they like what I have to say and they, are interested in my opinion.
48,000 now, so congratulations. And yet your pinned comment only has 631 likes at the time of recording. Not that that's an indicator of how popular you are on the site. You tend to fluctuate the same as any content creator or Twitter user. However, when you average in the triple to double digit range as a profile with a following of your size, it tends to make me think about how many of the people who follow you actually care about what you have to say. I mean, I'm no spring chicken in the follower counting coop, but I tend to do alright for someone of my size. I also follow you on Twitter, surprisingly enough, and no, I hardly ever care about what you have to say. In fact, I actually disagreed with you on this particular stance of yours back when you first started talking about it in August. It's just that in between that time and now, I had my account suspended due to two-factor authentication, so I can't really screenshot and share my replies.
And me pointing out these very simple things that I don't think I should have to be pointing out.
No, you are correct. You really didn't need to point this out. Not just because you are wrong, but also because nobody cares. I mean, a lot of people like her design, especially in the not safe for work community, so I think the character will be doing just fine for some time. She even appears to be making a return in Doctor Strange 2, possibly as a cameo, possibly as a side character. Guess we'll have to wait and see.
Out because I thought a majority of the population had common sense.
There's that stone again, and it appears to have taken 3 of your teeth this time around.
Apparently I was wrong, but it's like, it's not fucking rocket science.
I agree. It's bro science, which is harder.
Women have been injected with a super serum before.
That is not a canon character to the show. That is not a canon character to the show. That is not a canon character to the show. That is not a canon character to the show.
And this is one thing that these weirdos do, which they constantly move the goalpost.
Madam, there is no goalpost. Nobody is scoring. Everything is pain. This entire conversation stems from you having a problem with a fucking promotional image, which is not even the final product. It's also wrong, because you are basing your argument off of a comic book nobody gives a shit about, and one which is not even accurate to the situation Peggy found herself in when she transformed. Stop it.
It's like, they want to yell at me because, Anna, she's injected with the super serum! You're stupid for posting this! Ray! you want to bring the super serum up? Well, this is what a woman looks like that's been injected by the super serum.
This is not a canon character to the show. This is not a canon character to the show. This is not a canon character to the show. This is not a canon character to the show.
Like, you're resorting to using comics? Oh my god, you're so stupid. We're not talking about the comics. And it's like, but you just try to use the comics and the super serum to prove your point.
No, don't even try to pull this bullshit. Every person who called you out for being a pig-headed blind crustacean that you are, used the films and the very episode Peggy comes from as a reference for how this particular serum behaved. Now, if you had perhaps used future super soldier serums as a counterpoint, like the one we saw in Civil War, we could have had some sort of decent conversation, because there is evidence within the Marvel Cinematic Universe which supports your argument that not every woman turns into a giantess. However, even then, your argument is not that valid, because those were knock-off formulas based off of the one used on Captain America. They would not behave in the same fashion, and yet, even though that point is wrong, it would have been light years closer to an actual good point compared to this dismal, downright droopy display of baby rage you've been advertising. It is legitimately pathetic.
It doesn't prove your point. It's completely pointless arguing with these people.
You know what, I think I'm going to start naming that stone Craig. It's fitting that a name with Scottish Gaelic origin would be responsible for taking 3 more of your teeth.
But again, it blows my mind that this is the hill that they want to die on.
Yes.
When I grew up, the way to be a strong woman, and the best illustration I can use for this, because a lot of these people are kids and they probably don't, watch movies.
Wow, how fucking scummy of you just to negate any of their points and counter arguments by claiming these people are just children. And how embarrassing of you to admit children are smarter than you.
You go all in about Ellen Ripley, which again is a woman that, why does she survive? Oh yeah, because she uses this thing inside of her head called a brain.
So then why do you look up to her so much? You clearly have nothing in common. Also, what is up with people like you who claim that modern day female characters just lack any feminine qualities, going straight to Ellen Ripley and Sarah Connor as your only examples of how to do them properly? You claim your opposition doesn't watch any movies, but then you only ever seem to cite 2 or 3 examples, and it's like, wow, dude, seriously? How narrow is your scope? You should go and buy yourself a Big Lebowski burger and just open those eyes of yours a little bit wider. Take in some of that fresh content you seem to crave so much. Or, fawn over some green toad while stalking Henry Cavill's girlfriend. Whatever, I'm not your dad.
Why do a lot of these women that, are famous for being strong women and, strong female role models is because they use this little thing called a brain? Why is Princess Leia able to stand up in front of Darth Vader and watch her planet get destroyed? Oh yeah, she's got this thing called a fucking brain.
I'm a college man! I won't need my high school diploma anymore! I am too smart! I am too smart! I am too smart! I am too smart! S-M-R-T! I mean S-M-A-R-T!
Oh,
Yanda.
thank you.
Banana.
Called a fucking brain. She's not gonna arm wrestle Darth fucking Vader. She's able to get by in life and be at the position she is because she uses her fucking brain.
I'm so thrilled to know having a brain is required before one can become a hostage who gets rescued by a third party. I'm also pretty excited at the prospect that a member of the royal family needs to have a brain before being allowed the title, something like Princess. P.S. I understand Leia is actually intelligent and gets the group out of sticky situations. I'm only making fun of Hannah for having really bad points and giving really shitty examples. Also, imagine thinking that people you are arguing with on Twitter haven't seen fucking Star Wars. How far up your own ass do you need to be in order to make this point?
So, if you go and watch the Disney animated movie Mulan.
Yes! Finally! A 4th example that isn't Sarah Connor!
Absolutely fantastic fantastic movie. And when you watch the scene where Shang is singing I'll Make a Man Out of You, does Mulan become a man in that scene?
No, but by that point she's pretending to be a man in order to participate in the battle, taking her father's place. And in order to pass the fucking entry exam, she needed to behave more like a man in terms of passing their strength and endurance tests. So, while she didn't actually transition into a man, she did have to take on the role of a man in order to protect her father and win the war. So your point is fucking retarded?
No, but guess what Mulan does do? She's able to do the thing that no man can do, which is climb up the pole and get the arrow. And you know how she does that? She doesn't do that by bulking up. She does that by using her brain.
And how do you think she acquired the strength to continue climbing that pole when she started slipping and getting tired? Did it simply shout itself into existence, or did she have to work hard in order to acquire the necessary endurance to make the climb? Sure, she is intelligent. I do not want to make it seem like I'm taking away from her accomplishments. In fact, I want to make it seem like I'm adding onto them. Because in order to make this climb, she first needed to acquire the strength to do so, and she did that by completing the exact same strength and endurance training the men did. Li Shang, metaphorically, made a man out of her, which gave her the skills necessary to perform this task. If any other man in this camp had the exact same idea, they would likely have also made it to the top. But because she's smart, she uses the same skills in a unique manner, a trait which gets shown multiple times for the rest of the film.
Bam! Mind fucking blown, right? So, again, I understand that this is a what-if concept, but Peggy got to the position that she was in because she used this thing inside her head called a brain.
Oh, thank God, I thought we'd never come back to the point of this video. Actually, scratch that, the point's been gone for years.
Right? She's extremely intelligent, which, guess what? Is a fucking strength. You don't need to be able to lift the most weight to be the most powerful person in the room.
And you think Marvel's the brand which goes against this concept? Scarlet Witch is now considered the most powerful creature in the universe without being a cosmic entity, and yet you can kill her with a bullet. In the recently released Eternals, Ajax was the leader of the group despite not being the most powerful member physically. Captain Marvel, for all her strength, got one-shot by Thanos when he used the Power Stone and was being physically challenged by Thor in What If Episode 7. She also died a few times in 8, which was kinda funny. Black Widow was a member of the Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and she was just a person with advanced espionage and close quarters combat skills. You could bring her down with a Walmart taser for all you want. Peggy Carter was the director and founder of S.H.I.E.L.D. according to Civil War, so we know she is an important and powerful character within the main continuity, even without the serum. But what exactly is so bad about making her the super soldier in an alternative universe to the main timeline? Who is this affecting? Yes, I agree, that line of her complaining she was never heard and thus needed to shout was insufferable and needed to be removed along with every reference to dancing. But I don't even know if you've watched the episode. Every single complaint you've listed so far has been based on a promotional image, so I'm pretty sure I accidentally gave you more credit than you deserved. Fuck me, is this video awful.
Most of the time, the most dangerous person in the room is going to be the most intelligent person in the room.
Yes, like Leia was when her home planet got destroyed. Or Sarah Connor was when the T-1000 opened the elevator. Or Ripley was when her crew was being eaten alive by an alien. Or Mulan was when she got confused for a fish.
And so, yes, again, even though she's injected with the super serum, that doesn't make, me looking at a woman's head on a man's body doesn't make me think of female empowerment.
What the fuck was all that bullshit about characters being intelligent then if you were just coming back to complaining about a fucking promotional image, you donkey?
They want to talk about unrealistic body standards for women. This is the most unrealistic standard that you can implement.
No. Shit. I'm pretty sure the design team for this show and for this character were not thinking to themselves that this was supposed to be an accurate portrayal of the average female figure. I'm pretty sure they just wanted a Captain America stand-in.
On women. And if you want to show this to young kids and little girls, you're going to give them such bad, body, images and what is it called? Body dysmorphia, or I'm probably using the wrong words.
You mean like how Marvel and Hollywood in general already promote unrealistic body standards for their audience, since the actors in these roles go through diets and training regimens the average person cannot participate in due to their lifestyles being so different? And because not every person who trains and participates in a fitness lifestyle uses performance enhancement drugs that would aid them in achieving this Greek god physique. But then when you take into account that a physique like this is only attainable realistically for people who use performance enhancers, it then makes Peggy's body in What If, funnily enough, more realistic for those particular people because she only got them due to blue pharmaceuticals being injected into her body in order to promote muscle growth and size. Jesus Christ, you're bad at this.
But at this point, it's like, you really want them to make a little kid, a little girl, feel self-conscious?
Anna, please do keep in mind that you said women with broad shoulders and narrow hips are man-like in appearance because they have an upside-down triangle physique. I'm pretty sure Craig is on his way back again.
Make her think that the only way for her to be strong is to look like a man.
It's a good thing most little girls watching the show know what the super soldier serum does and realize that Peggy Carter only got that way because of blue Kool-Aid being injected into her veins. It's also a good thing most little boys and girls are leagues ahead of you in IQ level.
Because then she's gonna have to, start taking testosterone.
I swear it's an actual miracle you know what that is.
Right? Because it's going to be very hard for a woman to bulk up like that. Go watch any documentary, go watch any interview with a female bodybuilder, and she's gonna tell you how fucking tough it is to get in shape like that.
Yeah, no shit. All bodybuilders, no matter the gender, will tell you how hard this is. This is not a game for these people, Anna. These people take this sport very seriously. It's incredibly competitive, and as a result, these people, these athletes, push their bodies to the limits in order to attempt to come out on top. Any athlete in any sport, whether it be powerlifting, rugby, water polo, or even esports, will tell you how long you have to practice and train in order to be able to compete at these levels. The exciting part is, this still doesn't discourage people from wanting to participate in these activities. In fact, for a lot of people, it encourages them to participate because they know if they just put in the same amounts of effort and work as these heroes, these idols of the sport, they can get the same praise and achievements as their idols. Some little girl named Jessica might watch Captain Carter and decide she wants to become a pro bodybuilder, or she wants to become a pro powerlifter, or she wants to become an Olympic level shot putter or discus thrower because she was inspired by her hero as a child and wants to be more like her. Not every girl wants to be a fucking Barbie doll, Anna.
To be a female bodybuilder, more fucking power to you. You go out there and you do that. But if you're just going to talk about the majority of women, I think it's more empowering to teach little girls, and heck, little boys too, that if you really want to be taken seriously and be the most powerful person you can be, the way to do that is not by lifting weights. It's by exercising your mind.
Are you seriously pointing to fucking Captain America as an example children should not be following, or in this case, Captain Carter? Are you just ignoring all the ideals and life lessons these characters are capable of teaching children just because they have bigger muscles? Are you fucking serious, Anna? Also, are you just ignoring the scientifically proven benefits of strength training? Do you even know what they are? According to technogym.com, 2 of the many health benefits strength training provides is improving the musculoskeletal system as it helps maintain functional ability and prevents osteoporosis, sarcopenia, lower back pain, and other disabilities, as well as reducing risk of diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. How about instead of teaching children to focus solely on one specific attribute in life, you encourage them to incorporate both an active lifestyle and exercise of the mind? How in the inglorious bastard swastika carving fuck were you raised?
Growing as intelligent as you can possibly be, because then your entire world is completely limitless, right?
I still find it charming that someone as carpet-lickingly stupid as yourself tries to associate yourself with intelligent characters. It's actually adorable.
I mean, eventually you are going to get old, regardless of the super serum, because that doesn't exist in real life.
Yes, that's right. And wouldn't you have it that you'd be capable of looking after yourself in your old age because you looked after your health, not needing to be nursed by some 20-year-old on minimum wage force-feeding you mashed potatoes?
Muscle doesn't last forever, and yes, neither does your brain, but your brain's going to last a lot longer than your biceps are.
It is a good thing then that according to scientificamerican.com, exercise increases health rate, which allows for more oxygen to flow to the brain. as well as releasing hormones which provide an excellent environment for brain development to grow. Research from UCLA also demonstrated that regular exercise allowed for growth factors in the brain, allowing new neuronal connections to be made easier. So, in a sense, growing my biceps made my brain bigger. Dickhead.
So, again, I don't know why this whole let's take away anything feminine away from a woman and make her as manly as possible.
You have still yet to demonstrate how exercise and muscle growth are inherently anti-feminine traits. I use Sarah Connor as an example of a woman taking on more male-centric roles of becoming a soldier and a leader. But I don't seem to recall saying that her exercising and getting those absolutely beautiful arms was anti-feminine. If anything, I'd applaud her for being able to make a body for herself that I'm envious of, as well as managing to impress the king of bodybuilding himself. In fact, I'd argue that regular exercise and strength training can help emphasize female features and make them arguably more noticeable. Imagine implying that a woman is inherently less feminine just because she worked out and got buff. Fuck me. At least this video is nearly over.
Is the narrative that they're trying to push and the hill that they're trying to die on. And all of these weirdos losing their mind about me on Twitter, again, it just shows, it just makes me lose even less faith I had in humanity, because it's like...
Well, perhaps the reason why people got annoyed with you in the first place is because you A. misrepresented a piece of content you hadn't seen yet, B. labeled everyone who disagreed with you as weirdos and children, C. used comic books as a reference for why a Marvel TV show following its own established canon was bad, D. said that Peggy having broader shoulders made her inherently less feminine, and then E. made a redesign of this character where you gave her shorter hair to try and sell the idea of being a boy with a woman's head. As for losing faith in humanity, I don't actually agree with that one. Knowing that there are people on the internet who correctly called you out on your idiotic ramblings actually made me have more faith in humanity for a change.
What are you guys doing? It's like, I'm just a stranger on the internet, but if you're gonna get triggered by my opinion, I mean, it says more about you than it does about me at this point. And
it says so much about you, in fact, that I made an entire 12-minute video explaining in great detail what exactly it says about you that you dared to question my stance on this quite frankly absurd and pointless topic while literally reeing at people who quote retweeted me. Ah yes, that will show them.
anyways, everyone, I just wanted to let you guys, I just wanted to talk about this, let you guys know about all of this stuff and what's going on.
Yes, and now I feel less educated because of it.
Let me know what you think about all of this in the comment section below.
I think you should reconsider what you value in media and perhaps purchase some 2 kg dumbbells to help grow some much needed grey matter.
If you liked this video, go ahead and smash the like button. If you didn't, that's okay. Thank you so much for watching this far through. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications. And
yes, I'm pretty sure I want more content that actively makes me dumber for listening to it, being a regular addition to my YouTube viewings.
And until next time, I hope you all have a great rest of your day, morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And may the force be with you, because we are really, really, really going to need it.
What I need is a stiff drink and some Clorox disinfecting bleach to burn whatever neurons in my brain connecting your voice to the hormone responsible for making me feel suicidal, and then praying I never have to hear your unfiltered dogshit opinion ever again.
Bye, everyone. Hey everyone, if you'd like to help support the channel, check out my Etsy, where I sell prints of my original oil paintings and drawings that range from horror villains, heroes, and your favorite Star Wars characters. I also have an art channel where I post time lapses and tutorials, and also if you want to see work in progresses, I also have an Instagram dedicated specifically to that. Then finally, you can check out my Teespring for wearable merch, and all platforms are listed down below in the description of this video. So thank you so much everyone, and have a great rest of your day.
You know, despite making me plead for the sweet release of death several times during that video, I have to admit your art looks pretty good. So if anyone is interested in grabbing some, the link to her video is in the description. But for the love of Soleil, make sure you wash your hands first. I'd actually feel dirty advertising myself after viewing that cesspool sandwich, so instead I'll advertise someone else, who is actually way more deserving of your time and money than either me or Anna are. My friend Thought Theatre is currently starting a crowdfund to help finance his new horror short film, and needs as much help as he can muster. If that is something which would interest you, and if you have a passion for independent filmmaking, then please. The link to his video is in the description. I'm sure he'll appreciate the assistance. And besides that, all I have to say is I would rather be spawn camped for an eternity by Jackal Snipers in Halo 2 than ever watch another video from you again.
Hey, listen. You didn't need to post that. Why? Why did you post it? It's too late now to delete it. Now we just have to live with it.